welcome to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Schif me, Sarah.
And we're two Americans living in Sweden talking about football. Yeah, man. We here, we doing what we do. We are happy. We're a happy bunch right now because
yes,
we actually look like we got our thumb on the pulse or finger on the pulse of the NFL according to our bets, because we had a really good day of betting yesterday in the Sunday games. So kudos to us. Kudos to us and our bank accounts, our SveNFL bank accounts. We're just letting y'all know that we are buying a SveNFL restaurant with our winnings, a barbecue shack, SveNFL barbecue shack. Nah, but it was an interesting week of football too, man. There was some fun stuff. For me, it finally I feel like the Band-Aid's ripped off. My team is finally pretty much out of the playoffs, so I don't have to be as stressed anymore. It's rough. You lose your starting quarterback for 4 games. Hard to come back from it. Miami could not, and I wasn't as beat up about it as I would have predicted. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, my Falcons have yet to play. They play tonight, obviously. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm actually just glad the game's happening while I'm asleep because, you know, it has all the makings.
You got to win that game, man.
Of course we are, but those are the games that the Falcons usually figure out a way to, like, you know, step on a fucking rake. Going up against their former quarterback, Desmond Ridder. That would be so us. Remember last year when we played the Vikings and they had Josh Dobbs, who didn't even know the playbook, and we lost to him? Like, it was like he was literally on the sidelines with all of the offensive players, like, and they were like teaching him the snap count. Like, I'm like, how the fuck are we losing to this guy? It's ridiculous.
It's a different regime, man. It's a different regime. You got the.
To be fair, that was Aiden O'Connell coaching that football team, who I have way more respect for than I do Antonio Pierce. So,
oh wow,
you know.
Well, Antonio Pierce said that he's joke. He knows that the writing's on the wall and all that stuff. Have you seen that? That he said he didn't know if his key card's gonna work. He's been joking like that. I don't know if my key card's gonna work tomorrow, but we'll see. You know, like that. So he knows he's not gonna be the coach much longer. There's been rumors swirling ever since this whole Belichick thing. Now we know that he's gonna be coaching in college, and that everybody's trying to pair. You know, with Brady being a part of the ownership. They're thinking there might be some New England ties. So people are saying Vrabel. Some people are saying Flores could possibly go to Vegas. Well, we'll see. That's going to be interesting. I don't think they're going to pick somebody for Tom Brady. I think people are exaggerating that. But I'm going to get into some of that stuff later, man. This narrative trains, man. Jeez.
Bruh, there's a lot of exaggerated bullshit going on in the media right now that kind of annoys me, but whatever. I have a few mentions to that as well.
Yeah, man. Especially this Drake Brady, this guy who plays for apparently.
He's like the second greatest quarterback of all time, and all he does is lose.
The winning is no longer the thing. We're gonna get. I got some takes, man. It's on this episode. But let's get through these games. Let's talk about these games. We got the Thursday night game first, right?
Yeah, Thursday night.
Barn burner.
This is a weird. These are like two teams that combined for over 80 points last week played the first game of the year with not a single fucking touchdown. This was a pretty forgettable game. There were a lot of mistakes. Not a good look for Debo. Complaining all week about not getting the ball, and then he gets the ball and he drops it on what felt like could have been a would-be touchdown. 49ers are done. Yeah. They're 6-8. They're in last place in the NFC West.
Damn.
After this win, as well as some of the other results on Sunday, the Rams are now first place in the NFC West. Basically, they control their destiny. They've won 8 of their last 10. Yeah. They can win, just about any way you want to win. They can win in a shootout like they did with Buffalo, or they can win in a shit bowl, like this game.
A shit bowl brought to you by Xlex.
And then, of course, next up they play the Jets in New York, and then their last 2 games are at home versus the Cardinal and the Seahawks. So really, the path to the playoffs and winning the division is really their destiny, as I said, is completely in their hands.
Man, there's a certain podcast out there that predicted the Rams to win this division.
That's true. It didn't look likely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's looking pretty good right now.
We held firm, man. We held firm. Never stopped believing. Hold on. We held on to our whatever they say.
Don't stop believing. I never know what that last word. I know he says hold on to your something. Yeah.
We're still alive in our bet.
No, shut up. Are we?
No. It's besides the Dolphins can't win, but we did it where we could still win some money if we don't hit all 8. So the ones that we already won, Houston and Kansas City. Now all we need, Dolphins are out. We picked the Dolphins. Now all we need is Baltimore, who's winning.
Which is very possible.
Philadelphia, who's probably going to win.
Totally.
It's just not official yet. Detroit Lions. That's close. It depends on Minnesota.
We'll see.
And then Falcons and Rams. Like, we're looking good to win 7 out of 8. If we get 7 out of 8,
wow,
we'll win some money, man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We can move on from that game because nothing.
Yeah, let's go.
Next up, we got Chiefs Browns 21-7. The Chiefs win. Finally, the Chiefs win by more than 1 score.
Yeah.
Obviously, it helps when Jameis Winston throws 3 interceptions. It got so bad that Stefanski benched Jameis for Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
He rewarded him for it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. It turns out Jameis wasn't the only one who could throw picks. So I want to talk directly to Browns fans. I know it doesn't feel like it for the Browns fans, but this is a very, very good thing. Okay, that Browns-Steelers game a few weeks ago in the snow had a lot of people talking about how the Browns had found their guy. Like, what if Jameis is it? And
never say never, but never.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying never. He ain't it? And it's a very sobering reality. But I think it's good that you find this out like in definitive fashion.
Yeah.
The main talking point in this game is that Mahomes obviously left the game due to an ankle injury.
Yeah.
But, Carson Wentz came in and went 2 for 2 for 20 yards. So I don't understand why everybody's freaking out. Everything's fine. Just relax. Everything's fine.
Mahomes is through for 50%, though. That's something that could be a little worrisome. If you want to pick them apart. But they were up 21-0. It was like, it's almost, they'll be all right.
Honestly, something tells me that, obviously they're going to talk about the Mahomes injury all week, but something tells me that it's just not something to worry about. I could be wrong. The true sad news from this game is that my man, former Bulldog Nick Chubb, left with a broken foot. He's obviously done for the year. Sad year for him. I kind of hope he gets traded, to be honest. Like, send him to another team. Yeah. Set my man free, honestly. Because I'm also hearing news reports that that both the GM, Stefanski, and Deshaun Watson are expected to be back in the building for the Browns next year.
Okay.
And I mean, if they really are going to try to just roll the dice with Deshaun Watson again, it's like, ugh, what are they? I don't know. It just sounds stupid.
But it feels like they have to, right? As the front office, or do you eat it? I say eat it. And you probably say eat it as well. Yeah.
There are ways. Look, there are ways out for sure. It'll be painful, but I think you'd be better off for it, to be honest.
Yeah. Who? You said you'd be. I thought you were talking about Watson. He'd be better off for it.
No, I just mean the Browns in general. I just don't see any reason why, other than the owner just trying to like save face, basically.
Yeah.
And also maybe he's, you know how rich people can be, just like cheap as fuck. I'm like, I don't want to spend money on a player who's not even here. It's like, man,
yeah,
you fuck, yeah. Yeah. So we can move on to the next two teams. Speaking of some teams that have some decisions to make, Bengals, Titans, 37-27. The score was not the only big numbers in this one because these two teams combined for 25 penalties and 10 turnovers. That's crazy.
Yes, it was crazy.
Will Levis got benched after going 8 for 12 and 89 yards and 3 picks. And then Mason Rudolph came in and threw 2 touchdowns, but also threw a pick.
He was 21 for 26, man. He said somebody's catching this ball.
Burrow also had a pair of interceptions. The Bengals should have had another touchdown on a scoop and score, but what was it? Jordan Battle fumbled the ball crossing the goal. Did you see that play?
Yeah.
It wasn't even like he was literally just trying to like transfer the ball from his left hand to his right. You know how that like when you're holding your phone and then all of a sudden it just falls. It's almost like you just threw it. Like what happened? Like the universe, there's like a glitch in the Matrix. Like what happened? Like he did one of those. Yeah. I mean, you know.
Well, we saw this one coming. It was another one that I don't know. Some of these just felt obvious as we were making our bets and whatnot.
The best play of the game, honestly, was I don't remember his name, but it was the Titans D lineman.
What happened?
He was like
Tavondre Sweat.
He's like 6 foot something, 300 plus pounds. He strips the ball from Burrow.
Yeah.
Heads the other direction and delivers a
nasty,
filthy stiff arm.
Yes.
It's like he punched that guy in the face. I was like, oh, I think I know who's going to win Angry Runs this week. It's a lock. Like just everybody else can just take a seat because it's over.
I mean, I had more on that later. Just so you know that we can watch it now or we can watch that play later. That's what I'm trying.
We can watch it whenever you have, whenever it suits. It doesn't matter. But yeah, you know, whatever. The Bengals win a game that we all knew they were going to win.
Yeah.
Feels like a lost season, obviously.
Yeah. It feels like something needs to be done, but knowing the Bengals, nothing will be done.
Well, again, we've talked about it. They're obviously going to pay Jamar Chase.
I'm talking about big move, like Zach Taylor.
I would predict that they're probably not going to pay T. Higgins. He fucking played great in this game.
Yeah. He took a mean hit and just held onto the ball right in the midsection.
I think they should feel really excited about what they appear to have found in this running back, Chase Brown, who's been kind of quietly one of the better running backs in the league all year. But really the defensive side of the ball is like a huge problem right now.
Man, if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, you know what? I'm taking a job this year. Because remember, Lou Anarumo was supposed to be one of the hottest coordinators, and then he sticks around, doesn't get hired, sticks around again. It's like he should have pulled the trigger on something and maybe not been so selective. He could have been in Carolina with a head coaching job instead of now he's probably going to be, if they fire Zach Taylor, you know, he might be out of a job.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Saints
Commanders, your Saints.
My Saints.
I don't know. I heard a rumor that you love every team in your division. I don't know. That's what I
Jesus. Ken's going to be on my Saints. This game was funny. It started out feeling like it was going to be a blowout. Jaden Daniels, his ability to scramble Jaden Daniels, as well as this like otherworldly connection he has with Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looked like unstoppable. And then, of course, the Saints had to start Jake Hayner instead of Derek Carr, who has a fractured finger. And this dude was just ass. Just ass, bro. 4 for 10, 49 yards and a pick. He got benched for Spencer Rattler. But it was actually wide receiver Cedric Wilson who would throw the Saints' first touchdown of the game on an amazing catch by Alvin Kamara, who also left this game with some kind of injury. I can't remember what it was. The Commanders' offense kind of Kingsburied in the second half.
I was going to say they got Kingsburied.
Didn't really do anything. And then, Spencer Rattler manufactured a late would-be game-tying touchdown drive, but then they went for 2 and they didn't get it, and that was the ball game. I actually think
good play, good call to go for 2.
I agree. It's a meaningless game. It means nothing to you. You're kind
of lucky to be here too. Like they fucked up a lot to get you here. Take advantage now because you don't want to go into overtime with the obviously better team.
Yeah, I agree. So. I think it was the right call. Like, just go for it.
Spencer Rattler, he was pretty impressive. He was okay.
Yeah, he's all right.
To drop in there and do what he did, moving around and making it happen. He's one that somebody will be stupid and bring him on their team, and then he'll piss a fan base off later. It seemed like that type of deal.
He feels like a journeyman backup to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
speaking of journeyman backup, Tommy DeVito got him a concussion. Exactly, Tommy DeVito.
This game was never in doubt. Obviously, Lamar Jackson was near perfect. 21 for 25, 290 yards passing, 65 yards rushing because his mama told him to, and then 5 touchdown passes. Derrick Henry had a pretty quiet game, but I think they're trying to make sure that they don't bang him up before the playoffs, to be honest.
Yep.
Why would you give him a full complement of carries when you're playing against the Giants? You know what I mean? Like, be smart about it. It didn't really matter. They didn't need him. Lamar was dropping dimes. I mean, some of these passes, most of them to Rashad Bateman, some of those passes were just absolutely perfect.
It felt like a college game somewhat. Where like when the team is so much better that they're just like, all right, this team paid us to be here. Let's beat that ass a little bit and then get out of here.
Yeah. Shout out to Mark Andrews too, who had a fantastic touchdown catch to break the Ravens touchdown franchise record. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm leaving here with something.
I'm leaving here with something. This was kind of another personal moral victory. For the rookie wideout Malik Neighbors, who continues to shine on a very shitty football team.
Yeah.
Which, losing this game is obviously good for the Giants too. I mean, they're currently own the number 1 overall pick. I mean, I kept watching Malik Neighbors in this game thinking like, man, just wait till they get this kid a quarterback. Oof. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Because the defense isn't,
another top receiver. Like, imagine T. Higgins goes there and they get a quarterback.
That's a great point. I mean, T. Higgins, I really do not think he's going to be on the Bengals next year. So
I don't think so either. Imagine T. Higgins there across from Neighbors, and then you got Saquon Barkley. No, just kidding.
I mean, the tricky...
Could have been. What could have been?
Yeah. I mean, but this rookie they have this year, Tyrone Tracy, he's been pretty good. I really think the Giants are pretty close to being a fairly decent team. The defense hasn't been that bad. They're asking the defense to do too much this year. But if you can balance out the offense, the hard part is, it's such a crapshoot with picking quarterbacks in the draft. And
I wouldn't go for the draft, man.
And this year, especially, there's very little consensus on who is the best quarterback in the college game right now, and it's always very, very difficult to tell. So, yeah. So now we can go on to the Cowboys and the Panthers. This was funny to me. Okay, the Cowboys blew out the Panthers 30-14. This is the first time in over 30 games that the Panthers have been favored over their opponent. But
it's ridiculous. At least we were able to see through the bullshit and make some money off of it. This is I think we hit our peak in all of this stuff, and I'll talk about that later too.
Yeah, and obviously, much like Michael Jordan, the Cowboys took that personally.
Yeah.
The defense was swarming all over the field. Micah Parsons especially.
Yeah. Like, what did they think? Oh, it's annoying.
I don't remember how many fumbles they caused, but there were several. And then, of course, they got Bryce Young to throw 2 interceptions. Yeah. Cooper Rush was throwing darts. At least two of the 3 touchdown. At least 2 of those 3 touchdown passes were like on a rope. Got to put it right there. Like, you couldn't have put it anywhere else. Yep. He played really well, I thought.
Yeah, he's about to make some.
Tell him to bring me my money.
That's true. Yeah, he's. I would say he's moved up the rankings of the backup quarterback power rankings, which no one is doing. You know what I mean? Like the power rankings that nobody cares about.
Yeah. Yeah. But we saw it coming. It was no surprise. Bryce Young got him a rushing touchdown, but it was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
We can move on to the most surprising candidate for game of the week.
Man,
the Jags, 32-25. This was a highly entertaining football game.
I thought this was going to ruin our first window where we bet all of these victories, and it didn't.
I mean, we were treated to a very a vintage Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Wonder Twins activate extravaganza. Rodgers led the team in rushing, which is kind of problematic, but he also threw for 289 yards and 3 touchdowns. Most of that obviously went to Devontae Adams, who was just doing superhero-like shit all over the field.
Yes.
Crazy. 12 targets, 9 receptions, 198 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was just absolutely unreal.
Yeah.
Despite the 2 interceptions, your guy Mac Jones played a pretty good game as well. And he was out there feeling himself. Like, I'd never seen Mac Jones with so much body language in a football game. He was that was the most white ass Wonder Bread swagger display I'd ever seen.
Wonder Bread swagger.
You get that fucking Wonder Bread swagger.
He almost broke 300, man. Look at Mac out here doing his thing.
Yeah. Another one with the moral victories is Brian Thompson.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jr. Just unbelievable. I really feel like the Jags could be close as well. I can't sit here and tell you I know how to.
Man, wait till. But Doug Peterson is going to turn this thing around next year, man. When he's able to coach this team the way he wants to, he's going to really fix their issues.
Look,
it does make it look like maybe it's a Ewing theory, addition by subtraction. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, the reality is that as fun as this game was, I had to remind myself that the reason why the Jags and the Jets look so good is because this was one very bad team playing another very bad team.
I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass.
I think if you had never watched football before and you watch this game, you'd be like, "Oh, these must be 2 of the best teams in the league. These guys are great." But no, it's that they both suck.
No, they are the mean machines.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was entertaining. It was fun to watch.
You know what wasn't fun to watch?
I do, yeah, but just go ahead. I'm just going to step aside.
It wasn't fun to watch Tua Tagovailoa throw 3 interceptions. After all these people talking about, is he good or not? And this is a chance, saying the Dolphins can't beat a good team. And then people saying he gets rid of the ball so fast, so the Texans' rush won't be able to be a problem. And then I just think the interior of the Dolphins' offensive line just basically lost the game for the team. There was no chance of any running. There's no chance of Tua was running for his life. And then when there was still a chance, he throws his third pick of the game. After he fumbled the ball, too, he got hit from while he was rolling away, trying to get out of trouble. He got hit, fumbles the ball. They almost ran it back for a touchdown. He also scrambled and scared the shit out of everybody. There, it's like this dude was reckless as possible. Put his body in danger, put the ball in danger, and put the season away so that we don't have to have any more hope. Because hope hurts as a Dolphins fan. So it was going to be the year anyway. You lost your quarterback for 4 games. Pack it up. If I were them, I wouldn't even play him anymore, personally. That's
a good point. I would agree with that.
Just don't play him. Like, let's pack it up. We'll be back next year. Keep him healthy. He won't do it though. But
that's actually going to be the part that's going to make our betting journey so difficult for the next couple of weeks, because we're going to see which teams are ready to just shut it down for the year. I mean, this game obviously, it
was actually a competitive game though. Dolphins defense.
It was a very competitive game.
Came down to the last drive, and then he throws that.
You look at the numbers, and it's all about these interceptions. I mean,
both in the red zone, the first 2.
The Texans' leading rusher only had 35 yards, and their leading receiver only had 33 yards. Yeah. So both of the touchdown Nico Collins only has 17 yards receiving, but he had 2 touchdown catches. So it's like, it's all about the turnovers.
We haven't had a complete Dolphins game all season where every unit plays well. And this was one where it was offense's turn to give it up. And the offense they had his number. Like, you could see that he was like, all right, if I turn my head here, they're going to fall for it. Then I'm going to throw the ball. And it should have been even more interceptions if you look at it. If you check the tape, if you look at the tape,
I grind tape.
If you grind that tape, you'll see.
I'm out here grinding tape.
That the Texans defense knew every trick that former colleague D'Amico Ryans' former colleague Mike McDaniel was throwing at them. They were ready. That defense was in. Even the one pick that was like kind of a comeback. It's like he ran the route for Tyreek Hill. Either that or it was a miscommunication. I don't know. But Tua threw it to a spot, and the guy was in the spot, ready to intercept that. The last one, if he did kind of underthrow it, but Tyreek had it in his hands, and the dude just took it from him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That nailed the game. It was like, damn. So ripped the Band-Aid off. My team's out, and every year at this time, I gotta say it. I am
so upset.
So on to the next season. I still like the organization, how it's set up. I'm not one of those tear it all down Dolphins fans. If any team loses their quarterback for 4 games, it's going to be a rough go. And,
I have a question. With your team now officially kind of out of the mix, what team has got you feeling warm and fuzzy?
I'm glad you asked this question. Actually, I would have thought that the team that gave me the warm fuzzies is also an AFC team. I would have loved to have the Steelers be that team. I'd like to root for Rainbow Russ and him doing his thing, but I really don't. As I said, and you thought I was crazy, I think the Steelers have peaked already. So I want the team that I root for to be a team to win it all. I kind of want to go for the surprising.
You just can't say the Buffalo Bills, can you?
Nah. I got to go NFC, man. The thing you do in this situation, a fan like me with all my heart in there, you got to go to the NFC team. I'm rooting for the Lions, man. I'm going to be a Lions fan for the rest of the playoffs. I'm a Dolphins fan, but I'm going to root for the Lions to pull it off. Former Dolphins coach Dan Campbell was a tight ends coach in the past, somebody that we all fell in love with during Hard Knocks. So let's go Lions. I'm rooting for y'all to pull it all out.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Also, I'm not allowed to say this as a Dolphins fan, but I'll say it anyway because I make the rules around here. Despite what other people say, I do make the rules around here. And
I don't make the rules around here.
The Buffalo Bills will be fun. I'm serious. It'll be fun.
Sure.
It'll be fun to see if for that fan base, which I think is the best fan base in the league, It'd be cool if they won it all, but I just can't move the hatred. There's just hatred just blocking all of this. I can't dedicate myself to rooting for the Bills. I got to be realistic and say I'm rooting for the Lions. We'll talk about them playing against the Bills.
Yeah, let's move on to the Colts and the Broncos. We had horse-on-horse violence taking place. And after a hot start by Indianapolis, the announcers did their best to sell this narrative that the Colts had come to play. Richardson led a very impressive opening touchdown drive, and then the defense picked off Bo Nix on the Broncos' first possession, but then it eventually just kind of unraveled from there. Yeah, exactly. Let's go shoot that horse. Richardson continued to prove that he's not an NFL quarterback, going 17 for 38. Only 170.
Say that again. 17 for what?
17 for 38. Okay.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
0 touchdowns and 2 picks. All that while being unable to capitalize off of the fact that Bo Nix threw 3 interceptions himself.
Yeah. Man, they had his number early in that game. He was like, "Hey, man," That's like they were in their brains a little bit in his head.
Yep. It was a gotta have it game for the Colts, who were on the outside looking into the playoffs, but they dropped 21 points to the Broncos in the fourth quarter. The Colts had at least 3 fumbles in this game too. One of them got scooped up and taken to the house. The Colts' fourth quarter possessions: punt, fumble return for a touchdown, turnover on downs, interception, turnover on downs, ball game. That was their fourth quarter.
That's not how you. That's not how you end it off.
That is,
well,
I don't.
Come on over to the couch with us. We're sitting on the couch. We're waiting. Colts, who have a tiebreaker on us. We should have beat them too. It's like, ugh.
Look, I feel like Josh Allen has given everybody this, because he was so bad when he first came into the league, and obviously he's turned around, and now they're doing these segments on NFL Game Day prior to the Sunday matchups, and they're talking about him like he's some kind of an alien, and they're doing this thing where like lasers are shooting out of his eyes and stuff. So is it possible that Anthony Richardson could get better? Sure. Will he? Probably not. For every Josh Allen, there's like 1,000 Anthony Richardsons. You know what I mean? It's like
exactly. So much that needs to go right. They got to get with the right coordinator. They got to be able to break it down, the concepts and stuff like that. They got to have the right players around them to bring all of that stuff out. And they got. And again,
it's like it's as I keep saying, it's almost like he only played 17 games before he came into the NFL. It's like weird that why is this not working?
And Josh Allen had a full college career, and then it took a couple years in the NFL for him to adjust and get accuracy and the stuff down. His third year is when he started looking like a top quarterback.
I mean, it's almost like Anthony Richardson couldn't beat out Kyle Trask in college. It's
just crazy.
It's just weird. I don't understand why this isn't working.
Then we had our Super Bowl preview.
Oh, baby. Speaking of things that are working.
Yeah, my Lions, man.
Oh, is that you want to lead with the Lions? Because I came up with a new nickname for your guy, Josh Solid Gold Allen. He does it again. 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. To beat the Lions in Detroit, staking his claim on the race for MVP. I really think
they can't wait to give it to him. I had a conversation. No, go ahead.
No, go.
I had a conversation with Ken about this. But this is going to
we know how his logic is super sound. I can't wait.
It's going to get a little no, it's a little heavy, a little deeper sociology type of take on it. But and it's nothing against Josh Allen but they've been waiting for this moment.
Sure.
I call it the Jason Williams white chocolate effect that happened in the NBA back in the early 2000s when you get a player that does something that not many been doing what Josh Allen's done in the past, but if this happened, this is kind of a quote-unquote black quarterback thing. And when you get a white guy that can do black things, then that is something that they lust after.
You get a white guy who can do black things. I love it.
You know what I'm saying? Jason Williams was doing crossover dribbles in the NBA, and then next thing you know, he's on every fucking commercial for like 2 or 3 years. You just see this short white dude, fancy dribbles, horrible statistics, number one player. And that's how that's partially been my issue with Josh Allen, who was having the most turnovers in the NFL, but still in the MVP conversation. And it's like, if that was Dante Culpepper, to take somebody who was kind of a mediocre quarterback that could run and could throw, then and had a top receiver, then doesn't get any of as much of these MVP talks as Josh Allen does. So we had that conversation yesterday, Ken and I.
I would say that you know me, I'm always here for that kind of conversation, and I think I consider myself an ally.
You are an ally
to all things underdog.
Yeah.
Or you know, but this year I think Josh Allen might actually deserve it.
The narrative, I was going to say, the narrative of that, what I'm saying, has been blinding me. So then when you see it actually happening, this dude is actually playing like a top 3 quarterback in the league. But that doesn't take, both are true. This dude is balling. He's playing like the best quarterback in the league. And the NFL could not fucking wait to put this
and also I think
league.
The other thing that's important to remember is that I think that, you know, as much as I think you can make an argument for someone like Lamar Jackson, you know, the people who vote for these awards don't really like giving it to the same person 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Even still, I think that Josh Allen has been better and more consistent than Lamar
especially when it comes to not turning the ball over. That was his one the chink in the armor.
Doesn't he only have like 2 turnovers this year or 3?
Not
maybe?
turnovers, maybe interceptions. I think he's only
interception.
It might be 5 interceptions. I don't know, something like that. But it's not like last year where he was leading the league. There's a big difference in that. So that's all. I mean, that's the thing that's been annoying, is knowing that it's so much narrative driven stuff in the league where they really want to like speak it into existence. But the dude is playing the best out of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, a very hot start by the Bills had the Lions playing catch up all night. The Lions almost got there, but Josh Allen was just too much. 23 for 34, 362 yards, plus 68 yards rushing. My man, former Bulldog James Cook, was unstoppable, 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. Goff was also, Goff was obvious because he was playing from behind all night long.
59 passes.
He threw for almost 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. So he did really well for your fantasy team if you had him. But
can I say one other thing?
Of course. Why would I say no to that?
The prediction episode birthed a new thing that we call the bold predictions parlay. And the bold predictions parlay came through for us on yesterday. Those of you that follow our betting journey on Patreon, Schif said this game was going to score more than 75 points. And later on, the next game we were talking about. My prediction was that
I forgot about that. I can't believe that came true.
Jalen Hurts is going to throw the ball over his passing attempts. I said 40 times, but we couldn't bet 40 times, which helps. So we bet the over on that, and we combined it with the most we could do here, because we said 75, but the most we could do was 67, and they put up fucking 90.
I can't believe we hit that bet. That's awesome.
We hit that fucking bold prediction bet the first time we put it out there. So that was pretty dope.
That's really funny.
But Rainbow Russ and my Steelers, they fell short in the battle for Pennsylvania when Jalen Hurts, he did throw the ball 32 times. They said his over-under was 26, so we did hit that. But, the Steelers couldn't keep up. They didn't have your man, former Bulldog, Pickens, and it showed that was an issue. So,
this is funny. This is another one where the media were just like, they were circling all week like sharks with blood in the water, talking about the 11-win Eagles passing problem. It's just such a dumb narrative. And now they're probably going to take credit, we made him pass more, for the fact that Hurts threw for nearly 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, both touchdowns to A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, who both had over 100 yards in this game.
A.J. Brown, who apparently hates him, right? It's like, get out of here, man.
It's so stupid. The reality is that, the Eagles have never really had a running back as good as Saquon Barkley. So all they've done is just transferred into a run first team, right? But in this game, obviously, when you have a Steelers defense who's focused on trying to stop Saquon Barkley, yeah, of course, Jalen Hurts is going to have to throw the goddamn football, and he did that, and they won the game.
And they also have the best offensive line in football. They happen to be able to do both.
Exactly.
It's like, that's what it is.
And when you're on an 11-game win streak, I don't understand why. Like, they're just looking for shit to fucking talk about. I find it so annoying. Yeah. I have more to say about Philly's defense later, but there were some moments, though, where it looked like Rainbow Russ was going to make a game of it, but ultimately the Eagles were just a little
comfortably
too much
outplayed. Yeah.
Little too much, and you're right. It is 2 weeks in a row without George Pickens, and you can tell it makes a difference. Yeah, for sure.
They and the fact that 2 weeks ago is when they peaked. So
that's so funny.
And then we got Drake Brady was going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Drake Brady is obviously the heir apparent to Tom Brady. He's a future Hall of Famer. According to anybody who watches him play, he's the best thing since sliced Wonder Bread. And
he hasn't even reached his peak yet, bro. I mean, just imagine when he reaches his peak. Speaking of peaks.
Yeah, but it was 19 for 23, 202 yards. That's an okay stat line, especially I want to see what his average passing attempt was, because I saw a lot behind the line of scrimmage, which is what you should do. Is what you should do with your guy, right?
So much shade. I love it.
Oh yeah. I got my shade, but it's what they did. I mean, and that's the thing they're focusing on now too. But then at the same time, hailing Tom Brady, who threw dink and dump. That was their thing. It's like, but now it's villainized to do that when this is the right way to bring along a quarterback. But whatever. They looked okay. They kept up a little bit. I don't know. I never felt like they were going to win this game, but they were moving up and down the field a bit.
Patriots had no answer for James Conner. That man is just he's like a bowling ball full of razor blades. Just it's crazy. Like we always talk about Derrick Henry as being someone you would not want to have to tackle. I feel like James Conner falls into that category as well. I wouldn't want to have nothing to do with that guy. He's brutal.
Yeah. Kyler Murray, he throws sometimes when he's on, he's one of my favorites to watch. The way he could throw the ball. That little guy, Baby Yoda. They don't call him that anymore. What happened to Baby Yoda?
Yeah, I don't really know what to take away from this game, to be honest, because I don't think very highly of the Patriots this year. Obviously the Cardinals are right in there for the division if the Rams slip up. But yeah, I mean, again, we've said it already. They feel like they're a little ahead of schedule. They're far better than I thought they were going to be this season. 100%.
Yeah. I'm wondering what's going to happen in the offseason. For them, we have to move on worrying about their offseason. I'm wondering, do they keep that coach, man? Do they keep Mayo?
I feel like they got it. I mean, it's only his first year. I feel like they got to give him at least one more year.
A lot of good coaches out there.
That's
true. One used to play for them.
Yeah.
Is your camera tracking you?
It is. I don't know why. Isn't that weird?
That's pretty dope.
Whoa. Yeah, it's crazy. I clicked something and I don't know.
Wow.
Then
we got the Bucks played the Chargers. Your Bucks? Your Bucks played the Chargers, man. And I feel like I was the only one that saw this coming. I feel like that. Like everybody kept talking about like the Chargers they were favored in this game. We couldn't see it. We were talking. It's like, what? How?
I feel like the Chargers are another team that's peaked.
Yeah, and they peaked and overperformed. You know what I mean? And Herbert didn't. Mm-hmm. He was out there playing hurt, and Harbaugh came out and said to Herbert, what did he say? Herbert, like the injuries making him play harder or some shit like that. The pain is making him play harder. It's like, this ain't 1985.
Harbaugh. He's so crazy.
Yeah, it's not gonna work out.
I mean, we've said it many times already, but you know, their run game without J.K. Dobbins is just dreadful.
Yeah.
I mean, they barely got 30 yards rushing total.
Oof.
But
and
they were
then
getting
blown out too.
Yeah, they're getting blown out. My guy Lad McConkey had a night. He still looks pretty good. But honestly, like, I don't know. Am I even allowed to talk about Baker Mayfield without Ken jumping down my throat? I mean, the guy's out here throwing 4 touchdowns, you know, running all over the field, picking up first downs.
He's the best in the business, man.
I don't see Kirk Cousins. That motherfucker can't even make it to the line of scrimmage. Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield's out here just like, you know, whatever, you know.
Well, does Baker Mayfield have former entire teams coming to shake his hand after the game? That's what you got to think about.
But
like
what do you mean?
Kirk Cousins went to Minnesota, and the whole staff and the whole team came up to shake his hand after the game. It just shows.
Well, they just shook his hand to thank him for throwing fucking 12 interceptions. Thank you for giving us the game. Would you like to come back next week too? Can we switch this up so we play the Falcons again?
And then the last game, the Packers beat up on the Seahawks, man. It was they hung in there as much as they could, and then Geno got hurt, and it was over then.
Yeah,
Sam Howell came, but it was over before that. I feel like they had some running going, but then once they fell behind, the Packers, man, quietly looking like one of the best teams in NFC.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're not a believer. You're not a fan. You're like, you're not a fan of that.
There's something about it. I still just don't buy it.
I feel like nobody's talking about how good their defense is, and then their offense. They can have Jordan Love out there bullshitting around. Like, seriously, Brett Favre. Like, they found another fucking Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. These guys learned from each other and are just stressing out their fan base, but still defense is good and play calling is good. LaFleur is out here in his bag every week. It feels like a good recipe for victories.
To be clear, it's not. I don't dislike the Packers at all. I actually like them, but there's just something. Every time somebody mentions them as like a potential Super Bowl contender, I'm just like, I think that's just like a step too far for me. Like, I just don't see it. I really, really don't see it. And I think it's in part because I don't know how to make sense of their wide receiver room. Like, I really don't. Like, this idea that, like, none of them are actually really the number one receiver. Like, from one week to the next, it's like, it's like, I don't know. And maybe I'm thinking about it too much from a fantasy perspective. Like I don't want to have nothing to do with any of them because I just don't know who's the guy.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, LaFleur is a hell of a coach, and maybe that's like kind of the method to his madness. If we don't have the guy, then it's like, well, who are you going to double cover?
Yeah, you're up all night trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So I can see some logic in that, but at the same time, I just don't see them. You know, I'm not surprised if they win a first round playoff game, but I'm also not surprised if they lose in the first round. To be honest, depending on who they play.
I get it. Well, let's get some superlatives out of the way, man. I got a real MVP that I want to throw out there. And I'm not surprised. You shouldn't be surprised either that it's a guy from Miami, or South Florida. Not really Miami, but he's from South Florida.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. We gotta go there. But it's my man should have been the goddamn Hurricane, but he chose not to be a Hurricane. Not holding it against him. Lamar Jackson. He got that phone call from his mom/agent and decided it was time to go back to his roots. And in a get-right game against the Giants, the game was like a throwback to one of the most boring Super Bowls ever when the Ravens outclassed the Giants back in Super Bowl 35 with the best Super Bowl defensive performance ever. I don't know if you remember that. In that game, the Giants ended all but one possession with a punt or a turnover. And the one possession that didn't end in a punt and a turnover was when time ran out at the end of the game. The game final score was 35-7, and their only score was on a kickoff return for a touchdown. So that's how that game went. They only had 152 yards of offense that night. But this version of Ravens isn't exactly that Brian Billick, Rex Ryan, alum defense of Ravens. This Ravens, they got another Miami guy, South Florida guy, that came to play. Lamar went off for 21 for 25, 5 tutties, and 65 yards on the ground. Mom said run the ball more, and Lamar listened. We figured the Giants wouldn't be able to keep up, but this year you never know with the way the Ravens were playing bad teams. Lamar left nothing to chance and put his talents on display in this rout while doing what mom says. From one Florida son to another, Lamar Jackson. Oh, I need to unmute it. I had to mute it for other reasons.
You the real MVP.
What you got?
I'm going to keep this one simple. I'm going with Devontae Adams.
Oh, yeah.
9 receptions for 198 yards, 2 touchdowns are the numbers. But honestly, if you grind the tape, honestly, the things, the toe tap catch on the sidelines, the body control for that play, as well as one of the touchdown catches where he's like cutting up the seam and like bouncing off of dudes to get in there. I mean, again, he played against the Jags, but honestly, this Sunday, he looked like the best wide receiver on the face of the planet. Yeah. So, yeah, he's my real MVP this week.
You the real MVP.
Who's your trash?
My trash, we're going to go all the way back to Thursday Night Football. I'm going to go with Devondre Campbell, 49ers linebacker, who refused to go on the field in the third quarter when his number was called. The rumor is that he was pissed off that Dre Greenlaw was back, and that mean that he was in the number 2 spot. This was a close game where he still had a chance to make a difference. Very unprofessional and disrespectful to his teammates. He had Shanahan was out there talking shit about him in the post game. George Kittle was up there talking shit about him in the post game. Like the whole team was fucking pissed that this guy just literally just walked off the field in the third quarter and said, "Fuck it, I'm not playing."
I bet he took his game check.
Well, it was going to be his last game check because I'm pretty sure, I don't know if they're able to cut him, but they're definitely going to suspend him. There's no way you're going to see this guy on the field in a 49ers uniform ever again.
He shouldn't be in any uniform doing that.
Yeah, I'm not here for that. Like, there's a lot of other players this weekend who played terrible, but for me, it's like I just couldn't stop thinking about. You can't quit on your fucking team like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
You are trash!
My trash was quarterbacks in general in Week 15. I couldn't help but notice that quarterbacks this week kept giving the ball to the other team. I thought maybe I was just blinded by my game, where the most accurate quarterback in the league threw 3 picks and another one was dropped and he fumbled. Maybe it was just a bad day for Tua. Then I caught up on the other games. It started feeling like an epidemic. Every game seemed to have multiple interceptions thrown. So I put on my trusty COVID mask and checked out the stats. And yes, this week's quarterbacks were indeed trash, throwing a total of 30 interceptions. With 4 quarterbacks left to play. There's still 4 quarterbacks that haven't played yet. 30 interceptions already.
And one of them is Kirk Cousins.
Exactly.
Who's thrown 8 picks in the last 4 games.
But I think that just kind of evens it out because there's been bye weeks, and this week is the first time no bye weeks in the past few weeks. But last week, there were 18 picks.
Wow.
Week 13, 22 picks. Week 12, 11 picks. The most any week leading up to this week, and that this week isn't even over yet, I remind you, was 26. One of the biggest indicators of a team's success is turnover margins. Come on, quarterbacks, especially Tua. Take care of the ball. Because this week,
You are trash!
Wow.
yeah, I had a prop. Those of you that aren't watching on YouTube, I had my Dolphins COVID mask.
Hey, you guys are missing out.
Shit got learned. I guess I can go. My shit got learned. Where's my shit up? Okay. Shit got learned. Gambling and fantasy are skewing the perception of this generation of football. We need to fucking wake up. Seriously. The Chiefs are 13-1. And everybody's out here wondering what's wrong with them. They're winning close games, as good teams tend to do, but because they're losing people's money on spread bets, and the analysts are saying that they aren't that good of a team. Well, you are what your record says they are, and they're 13-1, the last I checked. It's the, let me see here, best record in the NFL. The Panthers, they've been beating the spread against teams that are better than them on paper. The Cowboys, they're short a quarterback who puts up a lot of fantasy numbers, right? Their roster, though a little depleted, is far and away better than the Panthers, who are in pretty much startup roster form right now. Yet the Cowboys were underdogs against the Panthers, who are obviously a worse team. Are people using their eyes anymore?
You play to win the game.
The goal is ultimately to win games. Teams that do that, regardless of spreads and fantasy and overs and unders, they're the winners of the games. We have to separate fantasy, pun intended, from reality. And it seems like that's not happening anymore. That's the shit they got learned from me.
Wow. I like it.
What's your shit got learned?
The shit that I learned, I'm here to ruin Christmas. Just because they wrote a song saying it's the most wonderful time of year does not actually mean that that's true. Much like your take on the Steelers, I learned that the Detroit Lions have peaked. I'm starting to think they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
Now, definitely now that I'm on board.
The offense is edge of your seat entertainment, but the defense is beginning to unravel before our eyes. The injuries continue to mount.
Yep.
The playbook on how to beat the Lions just got presented to us this past weekend.
Damn.
Especially if you're a team good enough to play like the Bills. You punch them in the mouth early and you force the Lions to play catch up. Now, that being said, if Bills v. Lions was our Super Bowl preview, I'm 100% here for it.
Yeah.
That being said, my Skifstradamus senses are telling me that the fairy tale Lions season ain't going to end the way they want it to.
Damn. That hurts, man. You put any spec?
I am, actually.
I could do mine first.
Yeah, go for it.
It's better if I do mine first.
Mine's a little long, actually.
Okay, that's what I said to her.
Name a Jonathan sex tape.
Mine's a little long, actually. Part 7.
It gets longer.
I'm putting spec on Tyvondre Sweat. Tyvondre Sweat. I'm hoping I'm saying that right, Tyvondre, because you need all the spec you can get. That man had maybe the play of the game in a losing effort. When you mentioned this play earlier, he bullied the ball away from Joe Burrow, then he turned into beast mode all of a sudden. I haven't rooted for a big man touchdown in a long time, and it was glorious. Well, I tried to show it, and it got blocked because it's not fair that we can show it anyway. Honestly, we don't have the rights, I guess. Money speaks, but watch the play if you haven't seen it. It was dope, and because of that, Tyvondre Sweat has every right to say,
"Put some respect on my name."
Who's your spec recipient?
I'm going to put some spec on what. And this was I was watching Inside the NFL this past weekend before the game started on Sunday, and Bill Belichick was doing a breakdown of the Philadelphia defense, and he said, "Well, actually, I don't even call them Philadelphia Eagles. I would just affectionately refer to them as the Philadelphia Bulldogs." because they have so many dogs on that defense.
Oh, wow.
Last year, all my dogs on this Eagles defense did not look very good.
Nope, I remember that.
It was starting to look like drafting all these back-to-back national championship dogs might have been a mistake. But this year, you throw in a little Vic Fangio, and suddenly these dogs are eating on the regular. Yeah. The Eagles have not lost since their bye. That's 10 wins in a row, okay? Now, Saquon obviously gets all the credit, but the real tape heads know there's a lot more to it than that. Since their bye, the Eagles have the number one pass defense in the NFL, okay? Mm-hmm. They've also allowed the fewest yards per attempt in the NFL. Opposing quarterbacks have the second lowest passer rating against the Eagles. And they're also tied for the fewest passing touchdowns allowed in the NFL. Damn. They have the most sacks in the NFL during this win streak. And they have the highest sack rate in the league. Jalen Carter is tied for second amongst all defensive tackles in pressures. I mean, these dogs are out here balling. So I'm saying it's time to rethink the narrative that drafting all these dogs was a mistake, because my boys are balling out. They are a massive reason for this win streak, and they deserve to have some spec put on their names.
Man, that's what's up. I was trying to find a dog bark while you were talking.
Put some respect on my name.
I couldn't. I didn't trust the video that I pulled up. It was like
what was that thing we did a couple of weeks ago? That dog is
the Falcon
bird that's got that dog in him.
The bird with the dog in him. The bird with a dog in him. All right, so that's our superlatives, man. The scariest AFC team, I think we'll agree that the Bills are the scariest. Nobody wants to fuck with them right now.
Yeah, agreed.
NFC, man, it's up for debate. I'm going to say, well, what you just said kind of talked me into it, Eagles, but I think Green Bay is pretty scary too, man.
I'm on record as not believing in them.
Who else could it be? You think the Lions could be the scariest? You know, you can put up points on
No, I just said that they've peaked, so I can't say that.
Gotta be the Eagles.
I guess it would have to be the Eagles.
Yeah.
The way that team is coming together, I think it would have to be. I think it might have to be the Eagles.
Damn. Well, there you have it. Maybe that's the team I should cheer for instead of the Lions, since you think they've peaked. That's normally my go-to team back since I was a kid. Once my team loses, then I just start cheering for the Eagles.
To be clear, I hope that I'm wrong. Like I would love for the Detroit Lions to win the Super Bowl, but I've got a weird feeling about them the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That they're one of those teams that have been hiding a flaw all year, and that's the kind of shit that usually gets exposed in week 15, 16, 17. You know what I mean? It's like this war of attrition, it starts to show us who these teams, like where their true weaknesses are, I think. And Detroit has got one for sure.
Yeah, I hope and a lot of teams, this is the time when they start putting on the lipstick on pigs. This is lipstick on pig time of this season. And I feel like the candidate for lipstick on the pig is going to be the Bengals. That's going to talk their front office into running it back. Where I wish they would just stay focused and realize the reason that we didn't get to where we wanted to go is because of these coaches. We got the talent that could be. I'd be courting the fuck out of Ben Johnson if I was the Bengals.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think he would be great there.
Yeah.
It doesn't really fix their defense, but sure.
Yeah, but I mean, you get Ben Johnson and a good defensive coordinator. Yeah, there's coordinators out there. I want that effect that your camera has, man. I want some zooming on me. It's bullshit. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, I like it.
Does it still do the heart thing?
Oh Lord, I think I turned those off for good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we don't have a stupid thumbs up thing.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
We don't need that.
We don't need that in our life, right?
No.
We got enough good stuff in our life. So let's keep it like that. Thank y'all for checking this out. It's been another fun episode of SveNFL. We broke down week 15. Stay tuned. We'll be back to talk about the Thursday night game. These Monday night games and preview next week's games. It's been Jonathan Rollins.
Schif Misara.
With SveNFL. Peace.
Later, y'all.